welcome to Monday Morning Detective, the podcast starring Gino Scala. I am your host, Gino Scala, and we are going to tackle the subject of the Idaho quadruple murders again. And I say that unfortunately because as of yet it's unsolved, and although they're moving along, clearing a lot of people, we're not hearing any legitimate suspects. So, as you know, as it is with this podcast, we'll talk about it and speculate, quash some rumors, maybe even start a few others. Who knows? But I believe with my extensive investigation experience, I can shed some light as to what's going on at the scene, and why certain things are happening, especially to those who don't have any law enforcement background or investigation experience. So we will be touching on those things. Now, initially, when all this started, I came out strongly against the Moscow, Idaho Police Department because of the bad information that was coming out, and the confusion that it caused. Now, in their defense, they're a very small department, very small town. It's a college town. Almost all the students make up the entire population of the town. But as we know, just a brief recap, 4 students were fatally stabbed in their beds. Ethan Chapin, I'd been pronouncing it Chapin as in Harry Chapin, but I guess they pronounce it Chapin. Ethan Chapin, Zena Kernodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogan. Now, Kaylee and Madison have grown up together. They're extremely tight. They're like sisters. They're both 21. They even look alike. And Zena and Ethan were boyfriend and girlfriend. They're both 20. And 4 beautiful young people. And we've learned over the past week how wonderful they were as people and as students. Very active, very popular. And this is a tragedy, regardless of if these were bad people. They're not. They were the future of this country, and their lives are snuffed out way too early. And there was so much blood on the scene that it seeped through the walls of the house and down the foundation of the house. So that's gruesome. Okay, so along the way, they have a lot of developments, a lot of potential suspects, and we're not going to get into them with too much detail. We'll just say that the 2 additional roommates that were found alive, unhurt, on the 3rd floor of the house. It's a 3-story house that they rented, 6 bedrooms, I think. And 2 students, 2 girls, I believe, were found unharmed on the top floor. They have been cleared of any wrongdoing. We're not clear if they were the ones that called in the 911. That's one of the pieces of information the police are keeping. But they've been cleared. There was a ex-boyfriend by the name of Mark that the 2 girls, Kaylee and Madison, It's my understanding that Kaylee was his former girlfriend of 6 years or something. But word was they were getting back together, and both Kaylee and Madison tried calling him 10 times in the last half hour of their lives. This raised a lot of questions. Police contacted Mark. He is really considered part of the family, the Kaylee's family, and he has since been cleared of any suspicion. We have a gentleman who was seen following the girls as they visited a food truck the night of, and he did appear to be acting strangely on the video. He has since been cleared. He's been located and has since been cleared. He's been described as a male seen with a white hoodie. Early in the evening, the girls, Kaylee and Madison, were at a party, and they got a ride home from a friend. That person who drove them has been cleared. Really, there are two parts here that are very interesting. The police have refused to release the identity of the 911 caller, and the call itself has not been released. They actually cleared the person who made the 911 call. They have made a point of saying that that person is no longer a suspect. So that's another one they cleared. But why they're not releasing the identity of that person, or why the call itself has not been released, the call itself is not imperative, not to me anyway. So we have all these people that have been cleared. Everybody that's been talked about, even the 911 caller, although they're not releasing the identity of the 911 caller. And as far as I know, they haven't released any information on the two people from the third floor. They fear that they're possibly living witnesses, and the killer could come. So that's a legitimate fear. I mentioned earlier that there are two interesting points, and one was the identity of the 911 caller and the fact that they were not going to release that information. Fine. It's probably one of the two upstairs, and they're not going to release it. The second interesting point is that they still believe this was a targeted killing. They won't say how, they won't say why. So this got me thinking. Now, I understand in one of the press conferences that the captain, Roger Lanier, of the Moscow police, stated that the killer ransacked the house and left behind quite a bit of evidence. We're assuming that's DNA or fingerprints or, something along those lines. So it would be a stretch, but it's possible they're saying it's a targeted attack because of this ransacking. Whoever came in thought that these people had something, or, whether it's drugs or money, both, or whatever. That's what they were after. Maybe, I don't know if they would consider it targeting if they were in there burglarizing, and then the people woke up, somebody woke up, whatever, and everybody was killed as a result. I don't know if that would be called considered targeting. So it's really a matter of semantics as to why they think it's targeted. But see, when I hear of a targeted killing, I think a person came in there. I would think that a person came in there to kill a specific person or the group for one reason or another. So maybe that's what they're thinking. Initially, I believed that because it just, to me, it's common sense. You have the only couple staying in the residence, and you have a jealous guy come into the residence by way of an open door, or perhaps he knew the code. Maybe it stayed there before. And he targets the male of the couple. That would be Ethan and Zena. So you naturally want to take out the male subject first. He may not even have been the initial target, but if it's a jealous guy, if it's a guy that used to date Zena, for example, his target may be Zena, but he's got to kill the guy too. I mean, he's jealous of their relationship. Plus, you always kill the guy because he's going to be the bigger problem, chances are. And according to Zena's parents, that she had new bruises on her body, which would indicate a struggle. So if those two were targeted, you would think that information would be released. We believe it's the ex-boyfriend of Zena. We know who he is, and we are in search of him now. It's no different than the Gabby Petito murder with Brian Laundrie, where, they figured out quite early that Brian knows something. They can't find him. He comes home, the parents and he disappear, and then the parents come back by themselves. But they knew early on Brian did something to Gabby. They just didn't know what. Fairly soon they found the body, and it was clear. And Brian offed himself within hours of actually coming home. So that could be this type of situation. Zena's ex-boyfriend would be found later down the road, hopefully soon. The self-inflicted, or ideally it would be great if he was still alive, but you'd be crazy to kill 4 people in this way and not have the courage to kill yourself and spare your family the further indignities. Now, again, I don't understand why they wouldn't release that information. Do they, not want to spook him? That they're onto him? They keep claiming they have no suspects. This could all be a diversion as they are tracking this guy down and hope to capture him alive. That would be a decision among the police department. Maybe they feel they have enough information out there. They know his whereabouts, that it's just a matter of time. They don't need the public's help. Okay, so that's that. I can go into that more, but that would be that one scenario. But let's forget the targeted thing. Let's just say that the police are saying that to put the neighborhood and community at ease. They have no real reason to say it's a targeted, other than perhaps ransacking. Maybe one of the kids was a drug dealer of some type, maybe without the knowledge of the others. That's quite possible. Drugs could have a part of this, but they certainly didn't look like your typical drug dealing group. But to be honest, I no longer know what a typical drug dealing group is. I have been surprised in my personal life by this. So, that is possible. Maybe drug paraphernalia was found at the scene, some sales paraphernalia, scales and baggies and things of that nature. Maybe a lot of cash. But forget about the targeting part. Now, with all the cleared people, you have to start looking at the stranger element. The man off the street. And it's not too many people have the wherewithal to break into a residence and hack to death 4 young people. Clearly, if they were intoxicated and asleep, they were somewhat incapacitated. If the first stab wound, let's say it's in the back, if it doesn't kill you or incapacitate you immediately, you're going to wake up and fight. It's not often that you can kill someone with one stab wound, unless you know what you're doing. Even a stab wound to the heart, you will have a few seconds of life to fight back. But these people, as far as we know, were not beat about the head or anything of that nature. They were killed by stabbing. But if this was a stranger that did this, we are looking at a potential serial killer. And I say that. Well, I say that because most people, unless they are complete sociopaths, would not be able to commit such a crime. And in these kind of cases, they don't commit it once and never do it again. If it's a stranger situation, this is their goal, is to commit these types of crimes. Talked about Danny Rolling from Gainesville, who killed a number of co-eds. Ted Bundy, of course, came to Florida after killing a bunch of people in Washington, Oregon, Utah, and Colorado, and escaped custody and came to Florida and picked up where he left off. Henry Lucas apparently killed, is believed to have killed over 100 people traveling the country on the rails in railroad cars. So, it's not above suspicion that we have either the beginning of a serial killer or other cases similar to this that have yet been solved. Or if they've been solved or someone is in custody for it, they could have the wrong person. So chances are it's not going to be 4 people like this, but I would say that the MO would be breaking into a house early morning using a K-bar knife, a hunting knife, and targeting co-eds or students, off-campus housing, young people. Maybe not even young people. I mean, if they break into the house and the people are in their 60s, age is not always a factor in the victimization of someone. A lot of these are crimes of opportunity. The house looks dark. No dog. They find an unlocked door or window and go in. So I'm starting to believe that this is entering serial killer territory. We don't usually know someone is a serial killer until several crimes have happened and that they meticulously combine them. Son of Sam, there were many, the victimology didn't come through because it was in several different locations around New York City. And you're dealing with several different jurisdictions and several different police departments and such, that the information wasn't really brought together until the letter writing, where he took claim for this. And that was early on. So, but you don't know that. The same with the Zodiac killer. The letters tied them in, but initially the crimes occurred and they had no idea. Ted Bundy didn't write any letters. He went, many murders on before there was a correlation between the victims. They heard of a man named Ted, and they saw a yellow Volkswagen at several of the crime scenes. So that's what narrowed it down to one person. Again, it's not a serial killing until there are others involved, other victims at different locations. So this very well could be the first one, but we'll have to see. But I want to give a shout out to the Moscow Police Department for them doing such a fine job since the initial first week. They've gotten their feet under them. They are releasing information that's of interest to the public, but yet protecting the integrity of the investigation. And it's a fine line you have to walk, but you do. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or anything of that nature. And if anybody is interested in having a one-on-one with Monday Morning Detective in a podcast setting through Zoom, feel free to contact me. I'd love to pick your brain. We can talk about any case you'd like, and we'll go from there. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, I'm Gino Scala, and this is episode 21. Have a wonderful day.